I kind of want to go back to the conditioned mind portion, like how we were talking about these mental impressions of why we should react away. Like Frank gave the example. Somebody calls you an asshole, and you get irked, and you're upset. You're like, what the hell? Screw you, man. That is a conditioned, learned response that we have been taught by society. So today, December 29th, right? So today's December 29th. And
I believe so.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, right.
Today I went to a funeral for my great aunt. My grandma's sister passed a week or two ago, and we had her funeral service today. And my sister has 3 children, young children, almost a year, 6, and then 9. And so she brought the 6 and 9-year-old, and I spent the funeral with them, and I loved it because...
Was it an open casket?
No, this was not an open casket.
Okay.
But I love being around children because they have not yet been conditioned. And so what I'm getting at is I'm sitting there, and my 6-year-old nephew, Adam, says to me, he goes, "Hey, Uncle Mike." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" He's like, "I don't get sad about death." And I looked at him, and I said, "You don't need to be."
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just kind of left it at that. And I said, trust how you feel. You're good. And he was just like, but it was in that moment that I really realized just how our most natural state of being here and just witnessing what's going on and not giving an emotion to it. It is so conditioned and learned over time. And it was so beautiful to hear him say that to me. And my heart kind of melted.
How old is he?
6.
Yeah, so he's still in that the ability where his brain isn't solidified to actually identify his past into now, and this shouldn't be happening. He's still on the precipice of that theta state of recording, so he doesn't know enough to do that. But the thing is this is what Jesus said when he said, "Become childlike." And well, we know too much to do it through the innocence of a 6-year-old, but through wisdom we can actually we could unlearn what we've learned. Because it doesn't do anyone. Because the people who died, guess where they're at? They no longer are holding their body. Can you imagine? It's like taking off a tight shoe. That's what happens when you die.
Yep.
It's like when you fall asleep, you just take off the shoe. It's the same thing. They just go into another plane. So the sadness that we have
is a learned response.
Yeah, but when you think about it, it isn't for their mortality. It's for ours. We're scared of our own death. People don't realize that. I'm like, people that get scared over their children. I'm like, I worry about them because I love them so much. I'm like, love and worry aren't in the same ballpark. If you love them, you don't worry about them. You're worried about them because you don't trust. And if you don't trust, you're not in the state of love. It's about finding that state and getting into that. And when you do that, you see everything works out. It doesn't mean you don't mourn. It doesn't mean you don't. We're not saying any of that. It doesn't mean you don't respond. I don't mean to become like just completely blank to everything, because we do have responses. But it's about the ability to control the response. I could be at a funeral and be at peace. I can be at Disneyland and be at peace. I'm not going to be screaming like I'm in a roller coaster or excited at a funeral. And I'm not going to be somber at Disneyland, but I could be excited in a state of peace, and I could be in a somber state and be in the state of peace as well. It's a separation.
It was just so beautiful hearing him say that, and I was just like, "There's no need to be,"
Yeah.
And it was nice. And then it's kind of funny where we leave, and I say to my niece and nephew, I'm like, "Hey, you guys ride with your Uncle Mike, and my brother, Uncle Tom, come ride with your uncles."
Teach you about that.
Well, no, I was like, "Come get in my car." And so because we all went to brunch after, and so my parents are in front, we're behind my parents, and then my sister's behind, driving. Following.
Was it a procession or that?
Yeah. Or this was actually after, so this was just us heading to the restaurants and stuff. And I go, "Adam, What song do you want to listen to? What music should we put on?" I was like, "You pick first, and then your sister." And so
was it like
he says, "Mortal Kombat."
Mortal Kombat.
And this is after a funeral, and it's just so funny. And I was like, "You're right, Adam. We're gonna put that on." So we put on this Mortal Kombat theme song, and like,
what song is Mortal Kombat?
Do 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 do, and it's like Mortal Kombat. You don't know that? What?
I don't play Mortal Kombat.
Okay, it's from the movie, from the '90s movie.
I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, Frank, it's a classic. Okay, anyways.
I know Mortal Kombat. I just never.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was just so funny to me, and I found myself so in the moment of just so present, not a care in the world, nothing else except blasting Mortal Kombat with my niece and my nephew and my brother in this moving vehicle. These moments of presence, I could have never described that situation as being something special. It was one of the most special moments ever. I was with my brother, my niece, my nephew. It was right after a funeral. All of these things, listening to a foolish song. But those pieces all together gave me a moment I will never forget and will always cherish, and I hold in my heart as so special.
Because
and we can look at any moment like that. Every moment is like that when you really look.
If you learn to choose your emotion. Your nephew chose the emotion that day.
He did.
He didn't buy into. He wasn't sold by some charlatan. The mode he should be in.
Not at all.
And then because it became contagious to you and Tom.
Yeah, and we're all blasting Mortal Kombat, doing these like karate moves.
And your Bob's looking in the rearview mirror. What the hell's going on back there? What the hell are these people so excited?
This 6 and 9-year-old
just died.
All doing these karate moves in the back, and us just dying laughing, screaming Mortal Kombat.
Your sister's like,
it sounds so foolish to even say, but it was beautiful.
You can't hang out with your niece and nephew anymore. Your sister's like, don't listen to Mike.
It was great. It was great.
It is.
You know?
And that,
even talking about it is like, I feel it in my heart.
And that's what, like, we get to the place, and everyone wants to do this. I mentioned this before. One of the reasons we like characters such as, like, James Bond. James Bond chooses his response to any situation. Like, whether he's at a bar drinking a martini with a woman to the right and to the left of him, or he's being chased down and shot out with machine guns or whatever. He maintains the same disposition. He responds differently. He doesn't just sit there like a lump on a log while somebody shoots him. He gets out of the way. He pulls the gun. He does whatever he has to do. But his disposition doesn't change. He don't see him running, screaming down the street. And he's in control of his emotions, whether he's sitting at a bar drinking or he's being shot at. When you're being shot at and you're present, you act accordingly. You put into action. There's nothing wrong with that. But screaming will disallow you from going into the proper action to die. And that's what happens is people are told you have to act this way, you got to feel this way. And it's like, yeah, but how come it never works out? Because that's not how life is meant to be lived. You choose for yourself how you want to feel. And the closer you actually, just the fact that you're choosing means you're in control. If you control, the outside world will have no hold on you, ever. No matter what happens out there, yeah, there's a response to it. When it rains, I put the umbrella on. I don't just pretend it's sunny out. That's just ridiculous. But it doesn't affect me negatively. Unless